Hi guys, it's Erin. I'm not sure if you can see this out here or hear it, but it is absolutely pouring outside. And it's gonna be for the whole weekend. We have, oh goodness, so you'll hear that all the way through this video. We have what they call an atmospheric river overhead right now. It's this big stream of weather that comes straight from the tropics. You'll see it right over top of Hawaii coming straight for us. And it's warm and it's really wet and it's supposed to get pretty stinking windy here pretty soon. So my lights might go out, but it's still bright enough that I think we'll be all right. But since we have such crazy weather, I, not surprisingly, wanted to do some indoor work. And it's actually just the right time. I might be a little late even for some of this, but it was time to pull my Amaryllis out of dormancy. I'll talk to a couple of them. Didn't actually get all the way there, but pull them out of dormancy and repot them. I also got some new bulbs that I ordered that I'm really excited about. And all of these wax bulbs we'll talk about. I do have plans to do something with these, not those ones, but these guys, to make them a little more festive. But all these guys need to be repotted. They look they look really sad. I grew them to bloom last Christmas, and then I let them grow on as a houseplant until, I think it was in August. I put them all to bed. No, it was earlier than that, it was July. I put them all to bed for a few months, and now they're coming out of dormancy, and I'm hoping to force them into bloom again for Thanksgiving and Christmas. All right, let's talk through everything that I plan to do. For these guys, like I said, I'm gonna take them out of these pots, clean them up, get them fresh soil, repot them. Some will be in the same pots that they're in. Some of these I'm going to move to different pots. I have a couple extra over here. These guys we're gonna pot up. And then these guys, I'm going to actually paint. I got all of these from Costco, and for whatever reason, they came in this orange, yellow, and white coloring. So I'm gonna paint the wax to change the color, make it more festive. This Amaryllis over here is looking pretty darn sad, and I may or may not actually keep this one, but this one stayed outside all year. I don't know how it happened, but I missed it, and yeah, it's looking pretty rough. I'm gonna pull it out, see what the bulb feels like, and then do what we need to do from there. These are my extra pots for the new bulbs as well. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way. So I'm gonna clean all these up before I do anything else. As most of us know, Amaryllis are sort of one of those classic holiday type flower, sort of like a poinsettia or a paperwhite. And they're readily available. You can find them all over the place this time of year. I get a lot from Costco. That's where these guys came from. And I order some from Color Blends and different places. So I want to talk about overwintering them. If you buy Amaryllis, you know that these bulbs can be quite expensive. I've seen them, depending on the variety and the rarity of it, they can be between $10 up to $20 or $35 for just one single bulb. Of course, those bulbs are huge and they have gorgeous flowers, put out 4 or 5 stems every season, but they're expensive. So for me, I really like to overwinter them. Well, I really like to keep them year over year. So, and that doesn't always work. Sometimes they don't come back, but for the most part, if you follow these steps, it will. So, like I said, I will grow these in the winter. Like these guys are brand spanking new. I will grow them this winter for blooms over the holiday season and maybe into January for some of them. Once I clip back the blooms, I will just keep them in their pots or take the wax off and pot those guys up, and keep them as a house plant. They make really beautiful house plants with these big strappy leaves. They're really pretty. And then in the summertime, you can actually, once it warms up, you can actually, at least in my zone, put them out into the garden bed if you want to and let them grow there and build up their bulb for the next season. Or you can keep them in their pots, which is what I did this year, and let them just outside get all the sunshine they needed to bulk up. And then in the late summer, end of July, early August, somewhere in that time frame, you take the whole pot with all the strappy leaves, you stop watering it, you put it somewhere dark and cool. I put these into the front closet in my house, in the coat closet, just on the floor, pushed in the back, so they stayed pretty cool, definitely dark. We don't get in and out of that closet all the time. And just leave them be. Just completely ignore them until now. It turns out that once we started getting cooler outside, we had a couple of fires in the wood stove, and that kind of sparked these guys to grow. So it is what it is, but that's okay. Generally, you want to give them two to 3 months of dark and cool to go dormant, to put their energy back into the bulb, take all the energy out of the leaves that it grew, and get it ready to sprout new blooms the next season. Like I said, these guys I just put in that closet and they're here ready to go. Depending on the variety of bulb that you have, it can take anywhere from 9 to 16 weeks to go from dormant to blooming. So depending on the variety you get, you may want to start this process earlier or later, and depending on when you want it to bloom. I don't personally really care at this point what time they bloom between now and Valentine's Day. They could bloom anytime and it's going to be beautiful. So that's why I'm doing all of this all right now, and then they'll all be potted up and they will bloom at different times. These guys haven't even started. They're just straight bulbs. These guys clearly went dormant. This guy's already put out strappy leaves. This one may or may not even bloom again this year, but like I said, I like him as a houseplant. I have some back here in these wax bulbs that are already blooming, and some that are just tiny little, just bulbs again with no sprouts on them. So they'll bloom at all kinds of different times. Okay, now I want to talk about the varieties. Most of the Amaryllis that you're going to find all in all your grocery stores, Costco, that kind of place, most of those are going to be like a white lion or a red lion, this type, which is beautiful. It's just a classic red lion, single petaled Amaryllis, and they're absolutely gorgeous. This one's going to give me 2 blooms off of this plant, off of this bulb. But this is a classic Amaryllis. They're easier to find, they're less expensive than some of the other ones, and they do really well with reblooming them season over season. All of these back here are all that white line, or red line, excuse me. These ones here are a little bit different. These 3 in these white pots, these 3 are red lion. They were bulbs that I got last year that were inexpensive. I think they came in those little kits. They did, because these pots all came from that you find at the grocery store, like a Fred Meyer. Potted them up. They bloomed beautifully, and they're here again. But these 3 are all red lion. This one is really cool. I've had it for several years. When it blooms, there's stripes on it, on the petals. It's a double, and it has pink stripes. It's really, really pretty. I don't know the name of it. I'm sorry. I did not write that down, but it's a pink striped. And then these 2 are both white. Well, this one is white, think this one's a red lion also. And this one has white double flowered blooms. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll put pictures up if I can find them in my library. I know I took pictures of these, so I'll just have to find them. And then these are a new one to me. It's called Rosalie. It's a salmon pink color. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these look when they're blooming. They should be a big double gorgeous flower, and these bulbs are really big, so we should get at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 blooms off of each of those bulbs. Okay, next step is to get all these out of their pots. I got to keep them organized so that I know which one is which when I go to repot them. I do plan on putting these salmon pink ones in the white pots and then using those other pots for the rest of these. Take off all the dirt. I'm gonna clip some of these roots to make it easier to repot. Outer skins. Just like that. I'm going to do that 5, maybe 6 more times. This one is creating a baby. Okay, I got all the pots ready. So there's a couple different methods on how you can plant these. One thing that I tried last year that actually worked fantastic is you take these bulbs, set them on like a cup or a jar of water, just so that the water is just below the bulb, and let the roots just soak in that for, I did it for about, I remember it was 4 or 5 hours, maybe a little bit longer. But what it did was it plumped up these roots, and the whole bulb started growing much faster. They bloomed in a matter of just a couple weeks rather than 5 or 6 weeks from when I was expecting. It was kind of crazy. I would recommend that. There's a really good YouTube video on that by North Lawn Flower Farm. She's obsessed with Amaryllis, and you can get all kinds of crazy information from her. But she's the one that I saw do that, and I gave it a try, and it really works. So you fill a jar with water, you put the roots in the jar, and make sure that the bulb, when it sits on top, it's the bulb isn't actually sitting in the water, just the roots. And give them a few hours like that, and then plant them, and you will have blooms so much faster. It's pretty remarkable. So if you had an urgent desire to get your bulbs going really quickly, or if you got them later in the season, or if they're a northern variety that takes longer to bloom, this will help you with that if you want to get them earlier. Like I said, for me, I've already got blooms coming, so I'm not going to do that this year. I don't need to. I kind of actually prefer to lengthen the amount of time between now and when these guys bloom, so I don't need to do that. When you plant an amaryllis, it is very, very important that you don't bury it above the neck. If when you're watering and you get water down underneath of these leaves, it can rot your bulb. So it's really important when you plant these guys that they are really up above all of the dirt. So you just settle them in quite high. I actually think I need more dirt, more soil for this one, and possibly others. You want to set them quite high. So like I said, this is quite high. You can see the whole bulb, the neck of the bulb is above the edge of the pot. And I want to just put the soil around the bulb. It's really just enough to try and anchor it a bit. The bulb can be nearly all the way up top. In fact, you can grow these bulbs in soilless pots, and they will be absolutely fine. Okay, just like that. Make sure that the soil isn't up too high. There's a lip around, and then you'll water in around the edges, not a lot, just enough to dampen the soil. Like I said, you don't want to get water up into these leaves, so you really want to make sure that the water stays down low. And that's really the gist of it. So I'm going to do that all these times, and then I'm going to go grab some toppers for them. I'll show you how I water and then dress them all. Then that'll be it for all these bulbs. And then we still have a little mini project to do with the waxed bulbs. And for all those roots. So this is just regular potting soil. I don't put any fertilizer in it at this point. The bulb has everything that it needs. I'll leave these guys in their pots, but I will start fertilizing after the blooms have already come and done their thing. So exciting. All these guys are settled in, watered in, and I won't water these guys again until I see some growth. Because I don't want to overwater them, I'm just gonna wait until I see a little bit of green poking up here before I actually put any additional water in them. If you noticed, like I said, I didn't pour any water over top of the bulbs. It was just in the soil all the way around. And one more thing I wanted to point out, I also have this copper hook. This is a stake for when the blooms come up. A lot of times these guys can get, especially with these big doubles, they can get really heavy and the whole thing wants to topple over. So I like these. I think they're really pretty, these copper ones. I just got them on Amazon, but they hold up the bulb or the flower stem really nicely. Okay, now let's talk waxed bulbs. These guys, I got all of these at Costco. I really couldn't pass up the price. They came in these boxes, 3 of them in each box, and they were like $20, maybe $22. I think this one was $22. These bulbs are a little bit bigger than the other ones. These guys, I got a few weeks ago, several weeks ago actually. They were already there, already putting out blooms, and I wanted to get some as early as I could because I love these flowers so much. And then a couple days ago, John got this package for me, and they're further behind, which is fantastic. Generally, and you can see on the back of these containers, it'll say from the buds, when you very first get them, it's 4 to 5 weeks before you'll see just a tiny little bit here. And then 5 to 8 weeks, they'll be shooting up like this guy. And then 8 to 9 weeks total, they'll be blooming. So these guys were in process a lot longer. These guys will probably be blooming 8 to 9 weeks from now, right around Christmas, which is perfect. These guys will be blooming before Thanksgiving. You can see this one's already all the way up to the top. And this one that's down in here, it's behind, which is good, but it's not far behind. Now, if you don't know much about waxed Amaryllis, they're really pretty fascinating because this guy, truly and honestly, you don't have to do anything to it. Just set it on a windowsill or set it somewhere that it wants to, somewhere with some light and warmth, and they will just shoot up blooms and be perfectly fine. They don't need water. There's no soil in here. There's no roots really even in the bottom of these. The bulb has all the energy it needs and they just grow and bloom. They're so fantastic. So at the end of the season, like I think I said earlier, when the bloom stalks are done blooming and it starts shooting up just the leaves, I can and will go back in and peel the wax off and pot these guys up so that they can grow on and and I can go through this whole process again with putting them in the dormancy and then bringing them back out. They're pretty remarkable plants, really. Now, like I said earlier, for some reason, maybe because they're gonna bloom by Thanksgiving, they coated these guys in white, yellow, and orange wax. Whoops. You see the orange. Here's the yellow, and this one's white. Not exactly my favorite set of colors. It's interesting. Let me pull these ones out of here. They're the same as the others, just a little bit behind. Once I bought these, I kept them in the garage to try and keep them cool. The warmer they get, the faster they grow. Because they're technically tropical. Zone 8 and above, they will grow naturally. But see, this guy, it's got a little ways to go before it's going to shoot up. But I'm not a big fan of these colors in my decor for the holidays. So I thought it would be a fun idea to paint all of this wax. These red ones, I'm not going to paint because these are plenty festive in that color that they are. And I am going to keep these in the garage to try and keep them nice and cool and slow their growth. For all the rest of these, I thought that gold would be a really good color. I figured gold would work for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. And these colors, it probably will take less coats because gold and yellow and orange are closer in color than, say, a red. But yeah, I'm going to wrap the tops. I'm not going to paint the top, obviously, but I'm going to wrap them with just painter's tape and then spray paint the bulbs and let them dry. And hopefully this will look a lot more festive than the colors that we have going. So I'm going to get all set up and then I'll show you what I'm doing. But you can see here, right where the orange is, I'm just going to go just above it with the tape. And this won't hurt the plant at all. I'm just gonna go up so that when I paint, I won't be painting the stem. Just like that. I'm gonna do that to all the rest of these. They're all taped up. The paint I'm using is just this Rust-Oleum metallic finish in gold. Okay, let's give this a try. Ooh. Man. That worked better than I thought it would. Look at that. Now I'm just gonna let them do this to all of them. That looks so good. Now I'm just going to let these dry. And now the sun's out. Look at these guys. Aren't they the coolest looking? Oh, I'm really happy with how those came out. And they took no time at all to dry. The sun came out, I had to pivot a little bit for the right lighting, but all in all, I'm really happy with everything that got done today. All of these wax bulbs I'm going to place around in my dining room. The rest of these I think I'm going to put into my bedroom or one of the other guest rooms to keep them cooler than the dining room. Our wood stove is in the great room, which is where our dining room is. So the warm air will encourage these guys to bloom much faster. And I want to sort of hold off on the rest of these, like I said. So I'm going to put them in cooler locations. A lot of times, if you really want to get a head start, like on your Amaryllis, like I said, you can soak the roots, and then if you put them somewhere 70 degrees or warmer, they will definitely be happy and start to go for it as soon as possible. And then I recommend to get them going where it's warm and then put them somewhere cooler. In my experience, they actually grow quite nice, slightly cooler than that initial heat up. Okay guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment, tell me what kind of Amaryllis you're growing and where you're finding them. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.